Today we're going to be talking about how scalpers have ruined the launch of the RTX 50 series GPUs, and I'll tell you right now, Nvidia is one of those companies, along with pretty much everybody else that has a GPU problem. I think we can understand this, but it's almost exclusively the worst with Nvidia. And it's to the point where everyone's talking about it, it's a paper launch. You get these products and immediately the first thing you see is like literally no product. People have been waiting and waiting to take advantage of their brand new Samsung, Sony, OLED televisions, you name it, any high-end television, and they say, well, the only way to get 144 hertz out of my brand new TV I just bought is to buy a graphics card that can handle that. But when you do that, the paper launch is real. Immediately, you're met with out-of-stock notices, you can't get anything, and you can't even get the 40 series GPUs either. And if you ever try to get it at MSRP, good luck, because you'll be met with scalpers. And that kind of rolls into my next thing. Why are people so willing to invest in a company that can't even be bothered to value them? Because they could make more product, they just don't. Now, you can make issues about supply and demand and the supply chain and all of that, but the reality is they left people out in the freezing cold at many Micro Center locations knowing that they didn't have the stock, at many Best Buys knowing they didn't have the stock. They could easily have emailed a handful of people and given them vouchers and said, sorry, that's all we have, first come, first serve, but they didn't. They let people believe and think that they're going to get something and take it away from them. Now, to be very clear, I already know how the game goes. I wasn't one of those people out there waiting, and this isn't salty or some rant. I personally just bought the RX 7900 XTX because for me, I'd rather have VRAM versus the pathetic 16 gigs that you get over there on Nvidia anyway. And this is coming from a guy that has had Nvidia cards like pretty much the entire time on PC. But the reality is, people don't do that. AMD cards are overlooked because they don't have ray tracing performance, even though most gamers turn ray tracing off because it tanks the performance. Like, it's really ridiculous when you look at what Nvidia is being sold on. I mean, you have a card that has 24 gigabytes of VRAM with AMD, and literally no one talks about it. They all talk about frame generation and DLSS, and they forget the fact that FSR3 or whatever it is exists on Nvidia or AMD. I mean, it's the variation of DLSS for them too. And while, yeah, sure, you might want the popular thing out there, I mean, it's kind of like separating the wheat from the chaff, isn't it, right? There are people that are going to get mulled over, and there are people that are just going to survive in an atmosphere like this. And I can safely say I'm one of those people that just refuse to pay the absolute scalper price. I have been so proud of the gaming community for literally just posting pictures online with the GPU and telling everybody to look at the description on eBay and saying, hey, this is just to screw over scalpers and bots. Like, we're not actually selling you a GPU. It's a picture of the GPU. And that's all they're going to get. It's actually really hilarious when you think about it, because it's a FU. Because people are tired of literally buying high-end goods like televisions, not being able to take advantage of them. The companies don't care, and it's the only way you can see upwards of 144 hertz on the brand new televisions that we're going to be having. And again, I get that maybe not everybody might think that this is a problem, but it's a massive problem when that is the only way. We don't have it on PlayStation, we don't have it on Xbox where you have those frame rates, and that's the only kind of content that you could see those frame rates. So yeah, it's a big issue, and I think more people should talk about it, but I did want to talk about the paper launch. Screw scalpers. I think they really ought to be ashamed of themselves for literally being just bad human beings in society, like trying to take advantage of your fellow man. But fortunately, I was able to get an MSRP GPU. I wasn't one of those people that had to pay the scalpers, would never, even if I had to. And at the end of the day, it just really boils down to, if you have a Samsung S95D, S90D, some Quantum Dot OLED of any type, or a high-end OLED of any type, or television of any type, it's going to be a while before you can really take full advantage of it, because the GPU game is just trash. Now, if you have a good GPU, fortunately, there are some new things that launched. You can use DLSS Swapper, you can use the Nvidia Inspector panel, and then change the way DLSS works to upscale it ×1 or higher to allow you to be able to do wonderful things with a resolution like, let's say, 1440p to get way sharper than what it ever would have looked without much of a hit to your performance. On older cards, I'm doing it currently on my RTX 2080 Super as I wait for my brand new GPU to arrive. I'm telling you right now, you can do some really cool stuff, but that doesn't change the fact that it still should have been better than what it is right now anyway. But that being said, I want to know what you guys think about this whole situation. Do you think that you can get great performance out of your TV? And if you are, how are you taking advantage of maybe those 8K TVs they've sold you, or your high refresh rate televisions like upwards of 144 hertz if you're not using a PC? Let me know in the comments down below, genuinely curious. And until the next video, I'll see you guys later.